Thanks for tuning in to Incredible Tea. Make sure you share, subscribe, and watch this video. I had told you guys in my last video that I knew YNW Melly was not going to be convicted and found guilty. So you guys, basically, after 2 days of deliberation, the jury was deadlocked, okay? They could not decide whether or not if they believe YNW Melly did that to YNW Juvie and YNW Sack Chaser in October of 2018. Okay, now, so what does this mean for YNW Melly moving forward? Well, first of all, let's break down what a mistrial is. Basically, a mistrial is a trial that has been rendered invalid because of an error that occurred during the proceedings. Okay, so the error in this situation was the deadlock. Now, in the event of a mistrial, the defendant is not convicted, but neither is the defendant acquitted. An acquittal results in a not guilty verdict and cannot be appealed by the prosecution. So although this is a win for YNW Melly because he wasn't found guilty and now he doesn't have to worry about facing the D penalty, it's still a bittersweet moment for him because he's still sitting in jail. Okay, so a mistrial does not automatically mean that they just release you from jail. As a matter of fact, the prosecution and the defense are getting together next week on the 28th so they can discuss how they're going to move forward. Because when there's a mistrial, jeopardy does not automatically terminate in United States court. Therefore, the prosecution may still decide to try the case all over again. And guess what? Again, this will not be considered double jeopardy. So this is not my opinion. This is straight facts. Do your homework. So normally in a mistrial, there are like 3 things that happen or could happen. A prosecution could dismiss the charges, but not with prejudice. So that way, if they find new evidence, they can still retry the person. Or, they might offer a plea bargain. However, I'm thinking that when they meet next Saturday, that they're probably just going to roll out the next trial date that they have. And I wouldn't be surprised if they come with lesser charges. They might not come with the same charges. I know that they did say that Cortland Henry was not the shooter. This is what the prosecution says, but at the same time, since Cortland Henry has his case coming up, it's like they could still use Cortland to flip him so that they can still incriminate Melly and get 2 for 1. So I think at this point, Melly's defense team, they're going to work on trying to get him out, even if it's just temporarily. They're likely going to file a writ or file some type of motion like a habeas corpus or mandamus based upon the 5th Amendment. It would read, no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentation or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia when in actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy or of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And see, that's the disclaimer right there. That part. You cannot deprive him of his life or liberty just because he's sitting in court. He's went through the due process, and guess what? It failed. So now you're just holding him captive, and you can't hold him captive because he's not someone that's escaping from war. He didn't go AWOL. This is not that type of thing. So because of that, he's already been sitting in jail for 4 years. I think that he might have a good chance of getting out. So we're just going to have to watch and see how that plays out. But I definitely encourage you to go and watch my previous video, especially if you were a person that you thought that YNW Melly was guilty. Because I know in my video, I had said at one point that I felt that he was guilty too. But now that I understand the process and I see how a lot of our people end up becoming incarcerated, it's because the judicial system works a little differently when there are people of color that are defendants. The fact is, I feel that the case should not have been pursued if Melly had an alibi. And the fact that the prosecution knew from the very beginning that Melly had an alibi just goes to show you that they felt that they had other credible information that was going to be able to place Melly at the scene. The only problem is, though, you can't ignore somebody's alibi. Like, they should have been able to prove that the alibi was a liar. They should have been able to cross-examine the alibi and get him jammed up. You know what I mean? That didn't happen. So it looks like you targeted Melly because he was the richest out of everybody there, and getting this high profile case is definitely something to add on somebody's resume. You feel me? At the end of the day, we as civilians look at the people that are going in and out the court system as convicts or either as people, and the people that are actually involved in the criminal system look at people as numbers. Whether you are guilty or not, they are going to look at you as a number. So if you support YNW Melly, drop a comment, tell me what you think about this video. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you share this video as well. I tried to keep it as short as I could and try not to go off on a tangent, just because I have so much to say about the entire case. Because even with Travarius, when he got up and testified, you guys know that's the guy with the long dreads. It was like, first of all, like, you can't sit up here and tell me that you got criminal cases, you a 2-time convicted felon, you have an open case, and then you telling me the state did not tell you that when you testify, they're not going to look out for you. So we're really supposed to believe the state's witness over Melly's only witness who does not have a criminal record. So you mean to tell me we're supposed to believe this new evidence that you guys find 4 years later, and the people that are testifying are people that were not initially involved? Like, it's just giving weird. It's giving that they found who they wanted to blame for it, and they built a case, and that even though Melly might have done it, that they did not pursue all options of really exploring who might all be a suspect. And it's also giving that the state paid that detective to get up on the stand and look like a ninja and act like he was scared to identify his identity. Like, I am not buying that. I feel like, now these days, all you have to do is put up some propaganda and people take the bait every single time. Every single time. And I'm not going to believe someone is testifying on behalf of the state who has open cases over the defense's only witness who did not have a case at all, who had a clean criminal record. I feel like if you're relying on GPS so much, then you should be able to pinpoint where this event occurred based off the time of death. Like, the people that give the autopsy should be able to confirm this. And why is the person who did the ballistics and all that, like, why are they not in agreement with, like, the FBI agents and medical examiners? Keep in mind, the state is a private entity, okay? So it's not like they are going to follow the constitutional rules. They're always going to use their police policy and their jurisdiction over your rights as an American. And the fact that a lot of news outlets have really been out here wording a lot of their stories a specific way, like they will say the prosecution proved this, the prosecution proves that, or Melly takes a loss. It's like how they've been saying it, it's just not been totally accurate. It's like as soon as the prosecution would prove something, it's like the defense would come back and basically debunk everything that the prosecution was trying to paint as far as a narrative. And I feel like the prosecution did a good job of sensationalizing everything and trying to play on people's emotions and using his background to really, have you pass judgment on him without even looking at the facts of the case. And people can give you facts, but it's all about wording. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, tell me what you think. Thanks for tuning in to Incredible Tea. You're with your hostess, Cocoa Puffs.